We are witnessing the beginning of a new industrial revolution. For the last 60 years, we have lived in the era of general-purpose computing. We built software to run on CPUs, we followed the steady march of Moore's Law, and we expected that every year or two, things would simply get faster and cheaper. But that era has ended. The physics of the universe has caught up with the traditional way of building computers. You cannot just throw more power at a central processor and expect a miracle anymore. We have hit a wall, and that wall created a crisis of efficiency that threatened to stall human progress. In the first industrial revolution, the raw materials were water and steam, which we learned to turn into mechanical power. In this new revolution, the raw material is data and electricity, and we are turning them into the most valuable commodity in human history: intelligence. This is the iPhone moment of artificial intelligence, but the scale is infinitely larger. This isn't just a new gadget, it is a fundamental shift in how the world operates. And as we look toward 2026, I want to share a vision that we have been building toward for 3 decades. My prediction for 2026 is simple, yet it will change every industry on Earth. Everything that moves will be autonomous. This is not a far-off science fiction dream. It is a mathematical and physical certainty. When we look at the world through first principles, we realize that for an object to move effectively in our reality, it must possess 3 things: a sense of perception, a model of the world, and the ability to reason about its next action. For 60 years, these things were impossible to give to a machine at scale. But today, through accelerated computing, we have bridged the gap between bits and atoms. We have moved from the digital realm into the physical realm. Why did NVIDIA choose this path? Why did we focus on accelerated computing when the rest of the world was content with the CPU? It's because we look for the impossible problems. We look for the work that nobody else wants to touch because it's too hard, too messy, or too risky. We look for $0 billion markets. Most companies want to compete for a slice of an existing pie. We want to build the oven and the bakery for a pie that doesn't even exist yet. That is the work of a lifetime. To build things that didn't exist before, to solve problems that humanity didn't even know it could solve. This journey wasn't easy. I have spent my entire career in a state of urgent humility. I wake up every morning with the feeling that NVIDIA is 30 days from going out of business. People think that when you reach a certain size, you can relax. I believe the opposite. The larger you are, the more fragile you become if you lose your sense of urgency. You have to run, don't walk, because in our industry, you are either the hunter or the hunted. There is no middle ground. There is no standing still. If you are standing still, the laws of physics and the speed of innovation will simply run you over. To achieve the vision of 2026, we had to rethink the entire computing stack. You cannot solve the problem of autonomy by just building a faster chip. It is a full stack problem. You have to design the silicon, the systems, the networking, the software, and the algorithms simultaneously. This is what we call co-design. It is painful. It is exhausting. It requires thousands of engineers across different disciplines to speak the same language and work toward a single unified goal. But it is the only way to achieve the performance gains required for physical AI. We are seeing a transition from software that you write to software that the computer learns. In the past, if you wanted a car to drive itself, you had to write millions of lines of if-then statements. If the sensor sees a red light, then stop. If a pedestrian steps out, then brake. But the real world is too complex for if-then statements. The real world is full of edge cases and unpredictability. To solve autonomy, we had to build a machine that could learn from the world the same way a human does, through observation, simulation, and experience. This brings us to the concept of the AI factory. In 2026, every major company will have an AI factory. Just as we had factories to build cars and planes in the 20th century, we will have factories to manufacture intelligence. These factories will be powered by Blackwell, the most advanced computing platform ever created. Blackwell isn't just a GPU, it is the engine of the new industrial revolution. It is designed to handle the trillions of parameters and the massive data sets required to train the foundation models of the future. But training a model is only half the battle. If everything that moves is going to be autonomous, those models need a place to practice. They need a gym where they can learn the laws of physics without the risk of breaking things in the real world. This is why we built NVIDIA Omniverse. Omniverse is a digital twin of reality. It is a world engine that follows the laws of gravity, electromagnetism, and friction. In 2026, we will see billions of autonomous agents, from humanoid robots to self-driving trucks to automated warehouse systems, training in Omniverse before they ever touch the physical ground. The scale of this is hard to wrap your head around. We are moving from millions of robots to billions of robots. And these robots won't just be in factories. They will be in our hospitals, our offices, and our homes. They will be the companions that help us navigate an increasingly complex world. This is the era of physical AI. It is the fusion of the digital intelligence we have created with the physical reality we inhabit. To lead this revolution, we had to build NVIDIA in a very specific way. People often ask me about our flat structure. I don't have a hierarchy of vice presidents who filter information before it gets to me. I have 50 direct reports. Why? Because I want the information to flow at the speed of light. I want to hear the truth from the engineers who are actually solving the problems. I don't want status reports. I want to know what the impossible hurdles are today. In a flat organization, there is nowhere to hide. You are forced to be resilient. You are forced to be accountable. And that culture of resilience is what allowed us to survive our darkest days. I remember when we were working on the Riva 128. We were down to our last few $1,000,000. We had failed before, and the world was ready to write us off. But we didn't look at the failure as a reason to quit. We looked at it as a source of data. We applied first principles. We asked, what does the physics of the problem require? We realized that if we could accelerate 3D graphics, we could change the way people interacted with computers. We bet everything on that one chip. We were 30 days from bankruptcy, but we acted with the confidence of a company that was 30 years ahead of its time. That same spirit is what drives us toward 2026. We are betting everything on the idea that intelligence can be decentralized and integrated into every moving object. We are betting that the world wants more than just a chatbot. The world wants a partner that can act, move, and solve problems in physical space. Think about the implications for global logistics. In 2026, the supply chain will be a self-optimizing organism. Autonomous ships will coordinate with autonomous ports, which will load autonomous trucks, which will be navigated by autonomous drones. The friction of the physical world will begin to disappear. Productivity will skyrocket. And as productivity increases, the cost of goods and services will decrease, lifting the quality of life for billions of people. This is the true promise of the autonomy revolution. It is about human liberation. It is about freeing us from the dirty, dull, and dangerous jobs so that we can focus on what we do best: creating, imagining, and leading. But this future is not guaranteed. It requires us to continue pushing the boundaries of what is possible. It requires us to solve the energy problem of AI. It requires us to build systems that are not only powerful, but also incredibly efficient. At NVIDIA, we are obsessed with performance per watt. We know that the only way to scale intelligence to the entire planet is to make it sustainable. We are building the most energy-efficient supercomputers in history because we know that the future of AI is green. As we stand here today, I want you to feel the same urgency that I feel. Don't wait for 2026 to arrive. The future is not something that happens to us. It is something we build with our own hands. If you are an engineer, a developer, or a dreamer, your time is now. The tools are here. The platform is ready. The world is waiting for you to solve the impossible. When you encounter failure, and you will embrace it, when you feel the pain of a problem that won't yield, remember that character is built in that struggle. I have learned more from my failures than I ever did from my successes. Failure is just the world telling you that your current model of reality is incomplete. It's an invitation to go back to first principles and try again. Resilience is the most important skill you can possess in the era of AI. The smartest people don't always win. The ones who can endure the most pain and keep running are the ones who change the world. We are entering a phase where the work of our lives will become visible to everyone. The decades of work we put into CUDA, the years of development in Omniverse, the billions of dollars invested in the Blackwell architecture, it is all converging. By 2026, the world will look at a humanoid robot or a self-driving city and think it happened overnight. But we know the truth. We know it took 30 years of being 30 days from bankruptcy. It took a company of intellectual masochists who refused to accept that something was impossible. Everything that moves will be autonomous. This prediction is based on the undeniable trend of accelerated computing. We have reached a tipping point where the cost of generating intelligence is lower than the cost of human labor for repetitive and dangerous tasks. And as we scale this intelligence, it will become more refined, more capable, and more integrated into the fabric of our lives. The challenge of 2026 is not just technical, it is a challenge of imagination. We have the tools to build a world where no one has to suffer through dangerous labor, where accidents are a thing of the past, and where intelligence is as accessible as electricity. But to get there, we have to keep running. We cannot be complacent. We cannot be satisfied with what we have achieved today. At NVIDIA, we are already looking past 2026. We are already asking, what comes after autonomy? But before we get there, we must finish the work at hand. We must build the infrastructure for physical AI. We must empower every developer to create their own autonomous agents. We must ensure that the benefits of this revolution are shared by everyone. I want to talk about the scale of the AI factory once more. Imagine a world where every city has a massive data center that is not just storing photos and emails, but is actively dreaming, simulating, and optimizing the city's infrastructure in real time. This digital brain of the city will coordinate traffic, manage the power grid, and respond to emergencies before they even happen. The city itself becomes an autonomous organism. This is the level of integration we are talking about. The boundary between the computer and the world is dissolving. And when that boundary dissolves, the very definition of a device changes. We used to think of a computer as something you sit in front of. By 2026, the computer will be the thing that walks beside you, the thing that delivers your goods, and the thing that manages the physical flow of our civilization. This transition from software-defined to AI-defined is the single most important event in our industry's history. It is the realization of the dream we had when we started NVIDIA, to use the power of the GPU to solve the problems that a CPU simply cannot touch. Think about the humanoid robot. This is the ultimate expression of everything that moves will be autonomous. Why humanoid? Because we built the world for us. We built the stairs for our stride, the doorways for our height, and the tools for our hands. To make the world autonomous without rebuilding every inch of our infrastructure, we need robots that can inhabit human spaces. This is an immense challenge. To solve it, we are building a three-computer system. The first is the AI factory where we train the foundation models. We call this Project GR0T. The second is the simulation computer, Omniverse, where the robot learns through millions of digital lives. And the third is the onboard computer, NVIDIA Thor, which acts as the robot's nervous system and brain. By 2026, these humanoid robots won't just be research projects. They will be working in our factories. They will be handling the heavy lifting, the repetitive tasks, and the dangerous environments that humans shouldn't have to endure. This is not about replacement. It is about augmentation. It is about allowing humans to move up the stack of creativity while machines handle the stack of labor. But to get there, we have to solve the impossible physics of movement. We have to teach a machine to have the same intuition about gravity and balance that a toddler has. And we are doing it by using AI to teach AI. This is the beauty of the moment we are in. We have created a self-reinforcing loop of innovation. Faster chips allow for better simulations, which allow for smarter AI, which allows us to design even faster chips. We are accelerating the pace of discovery itself. And this acceleration is why I tell you to run. The competitive advantage of 2026 won't be who has the most data, it will be who has the fastest loop of learning. If your company takes 6 months to update its AI models, you are already standing still. You are already falling behind. You must build a culture that moves at the speed of light. At NVIDIA, our culture is our greatest product. People focus on the silicon, but the silicon is just a manifestation of our collective character. I have always pushed for a flat structure because I want every engineer to feel the weight of the company on their shoulders. I don't want people waiting for a memo to tell them what to do. I want them to see a problem and own it. I want them to feel the same pain and suffering of a failed experiment that I feel. Because when you share the pain, you share the breakthrough. You build a resilience that is impossible to break. I often look back at our time at Denny's. I wasn't a CEO then, I was a busboy. But I learned something there that I use every day at NVIDIA. Excellence is a habit, not an act. If you can't clean a table with total dedication, you can't build a world-class supercomputer. You have to take pride in the work that nobody sees. You have to be willing to do the unseen work of optimizing a compiler or refining a library for years before the world ever notices. That is how you build things that didn't exist before. You don't build them for the applause. You build them because the physics of the problem demands that they exist. By 2026, We will also see the rise of sovereign AI. Every nation will realize that their data is their natural resource and they cannot export it to have it processed elsewhere. They will build their own AI factories. They will have their own intelligence manufactured locally, reflecting their own culture, language, and values. This is a massive expansion of the market. We are moving from a few dozen hyperscalers to hundreds of nations and thousands of enterprises, all building their own autonomous futures. This brings me to the first principles of the economy of 2026. The cost of intelligence is becoming a commodity. When intelligence is cheap and abundant, the value shifts to agency. Can your AI act? Can it move? Can it solve a problem in the real world? This is why autonomy is the inevitable conclusion. We are giving the gift of sight and reasoning to the machines that build our world. But I want to be clear, this path is filled with adversity. The challenges of safety, of ethics, and of energy consumption are real, and they are difficult. We don't shy away from them. We tackle them with the same first principles approach. We ask, how do we build a system that is safe by design? How do we make a data center that is carbon neutral? These aren't secondary goals, they are fundamental to the architecture of the future. I wish you enough struggle to keep you sharp. I wish you enough doubt to keep you humble. If you are starting a company today, or if you are leading a team through this transition, don't look for the easy road. The easy road is crowded and it leads nowhere. Look for the path that looks like a mountain. Look for the problem that everyone else says is a decade away. Because in the world of accelerated computing, a decade happens in 2 years. 2026 will be the year the world realizes that the AI in the cloud was just the beginning. The real revolution is the AI in the world. The AI in the car, the AI in the robot, the AI in the warehouse. Everything that moves will be autonomous because it is the most efficient way to organize a civilization. It is the logical endpoint of 60 years of computing history. We have spent 60 years telling computers what to do. Now we are finally building computers that can figure it out for themselves. This is the work of our lives. We are the architects of a new era. We are the ones who get to decide how this intelligence is used. And I believe that if we build it with humility, with a focus on solving the hardest problems, and with a relentless sense of urgency, we will create a future that is more prosperous and more human than anything that came before. But we must keep running. Don't wait for the regulations to be perfect. Don't wait for the hardware to be cheaper. Don't wait for the market to be ready. The market is ready when you create something it cannot live without. The Riva 128 wasn't ready, we made it ready. CUDA wasn't ready, we spent 15 years making it ready. Humanoid robotics is not ready, we are making it ready right now. I want you to join us. I want you to be the ones who take these autonomous systems and apply them to the problems that keep you up at night. Whether it's climate change, disease, or the inefficiency of our cities, the tools are in your hands. Use them, break them, improve them. But whatever you do, don't stand still. As we look toward the horizon of 2026, the vision is clear. The era of static machines is over. The era of the general purpose CPU is a memory. We are living in the age of accelerated intelligence. And in this age, the only limit is our willingness to endure the pain of creation. Before I close this talk, I want to thank you for your passion and your curiosity. This journey is only possible because of the incredible community of developers and thinkers who push us every day to be better. If you found this vision valuable, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. It helps us share this message with the next generation of builders, and I truly want to engage with you. If you have questions about the autonomous future, about the Blackwell architecture, or about how to navigate the suffering of innovation, leave them in the comments below. I, Jensen, will be reading them and I will respond as quickly as I can. Let's build this future together. The conclusion is irrefutable. The physics of computing has shifted. The economics of intelligence have changed. The world is waiting to be moved. Run, don't walk.